and welcome to this stakeholder engagement on the implementation of the discrimination against persons. Our country took a leap forward by enacting the Discrimination Against Persons with Disability Prohibition Act. This act was not just a piece of legislation, it was a beacon for over 25 million Nigerians with disabilities, promising them a future and equity, respect, and dignity. Today, we gather here not just to discuss the act implementation, but to ignite a moment that will break down the barrier faced by persons with disabilities. We are here to ensure that promise met and promise kept. The journey since the act passage has been challenging, with obstacles such as inadequate resources and persistent accessibility issues. However, these challenges only strengthen our resolve to push forward. The National Commission for Persons with Disability has been at the forefront championing the rights of persons with disabilities, and we are here to boost their efforts. Our collaboration today is supported by the International Federation of Women Lawyers, FIDA, Nigeria, and sponsored by MacArthur Foundation. Is a testament to our collective commitment to inclusivity. As we commence this workshop, let us focus on our primary goal, to develop a robust framework for tracking and monitoring the implementation of the Discrimination Against Persons with Disability Prohibition Act 2018. This framework will serve as a compass, guiding us towards the full realization of the Act objectives and ensuring that the rights ensured are not just words on paper, but life experience for fellow citizens with disabilities. Since the passage of the Act, persons with disability in Nigeria have continued to face significant challenges. Employment discrimination remains a stark reality, with many capable individuals being overlooked due to conception about their abilities. Public infrastructure and services which should be accessible to all still prevent barriers that prevent full participation in the society. These issues are not just inconveniences, they are on the right of freedoms that every nation deserves. Today we call on each stakeholder present, government officials, civil society leaders, business owners, and communities advocates to commit to action. We must work collaboratively to dismantle these barriers, whether they be physical, social, or systemic. Our effort must result in tangible changes, workplaces that work diverse talents, cities that are navigable for everyone, and services that cater for all service. Let this dialogue be the catalyst for change. Let us emerge with a clear plan, define responsibilities, and measurable goals. Together we can ensure that the promises of the Disability Act are not just fulfilled, but are surpassed, setting a new standard for inclusivity and equality. Thank you for your dedication to this cause. Your action today will echo in the lives of millions, now and in the future. Let's make history, let's make a difference, and let's start today. Thank you.
3 weeks ago, we gave directive that persons with disabilities should be employed, should be given employment opportunities, and I want to announce to you that we gave employment opportunity to 5 persons. We had persons with disabilities in our employment, but we as a commission one of our mandates is to protect, promote, and enforce the rights of all persons, including persons with disability. So, and we don't want to fall short because we are in the forefront of advocating for these rights for persons with disability. So we have to practice what we preach. In our own department, we have 5 persons with disabilities currently working with us, and I must say to you that those persons have been wonderful. There is ability in disability. If you see the quality of the work which they produce, you will marvel. And the ES has also gone further to solicit for donation from international partners who promise to give us laptops that is disability compliant for visually impaired persons. And I'm announcing to you, just yesterday, I got the information that those laptops have arrived, and we are going to distribute to those who are visually impaired. But I must say at this point that we realize that most of these persons with disabilities, when we employ them, before now, the admin wants to deploy them to the vulnerable groups department. But after engaging with them, we realize that they are not too happy bringing them, deploying them to the vulnerable groups department. They say that they can work anywhere, which we agree with them. They can be in the finance department, they can be at the call centers, they can be they can work as receptionists, they can work as persons who take complaints for the commission. So the ES instructed that all departments must have persons with disability working there as a form of inclusiveness, because we don't be.
So we're very open to lending our support, and the funding from Makato Foundation, we're able to establish this partnership that has led to this particular event here today. So we are looking forward to the actionable steps that will come out from this workshop, the proposed implementation framework that will be set up after this workshop, that is going to lead to a series of advocacy visits and engagement with stakeholders, legislative stakeholders, how we can effectively promote the implementation of this law. So we are glad to be here, and we look forward to a very fruitful deliberation. And I want to say it's good to finally meet Angela in person, and I just want to say well done, inclusive skills. Thank you everybody for coming to participate in this workshop. Thank you.
I want to say it's a big privilege to be a part of what's going on here, because it's an opportunity to learn and to also to understand the awareness that's being created over the act that has been enacted since 2018, concerning the implementation. I believe that whatever we're doing here today goes a long way, not only creating awareness for people who are not quite clear about the act prohibiting discrimination against people with disabilities, but also ensuring that enforcement of the act is very important. It's not just enacting the law, how do we implement the law? Going by IPAD, IPAD is an inclusive organization, an umbrella body for all political parties in the country. Every party, most of our parties have people in the National Assembly and in the state assemblies. All those who make laws, whether the National Assembly or the state assemblies, are politicians, and they come from one party or the other. And it's important to note that if we work closely with those of them who are there to make these laws for the benefit of our brothers and sisters who we may look at as being disadvantaged not being included in our national life, it's very important that we drum it very, very closely to them that laws, not just the law that we passed in 2018, but we need to look for ways of implementing that law and enforcing discrimination for those who actually discriminate against people with disabilities. IPAC is working very closely with our politicians who are in government, whether at the executive level or at the legislative level. And I believe that whatever happens here today, the actionable steps that we're going to take here today will be taken to IPAC, and we'll see how we can disseminate to all our political parties. Thank you very much.
When they see a person with disabilities going for employment, they will first look at the disability. They don't know what the person have upstairs, but they have concluded about the appearance of that person, and that is all, despite the act that was passed 2018. So it's something that we need to come up, everyone put our hands together and work, because the act have already passed. And when we talk about accessibility, is a very vital point, because as a woman or persons with disability on the wheelchair, and we still have some agency, even government agency and some ministries that are not accessible. When you go to those places and maybe the meeting point is upstairs and there's no lift, how do I do? And I'm there to contribute. I'm also there to make an impact to the society. You know, it can be frustrated. Even in politics or during the political aspect, during campaign, make place accessible for persons with disabilities during campaign, so that when they are there to showcase and to say their talent, it won't be out of point. Okay, now as an invited guest and you invite me for your program, and when I'm there, the place is not accessible, I have to check me on wheelchair. What about myself? My self-esteem. It will, in fact, destabilize everything, because I don't want to be carried. Make place accessible for persons with disability, those on wheelchair, even those that cannot see, they are visually impaired. Those, the sign language in all organizations you keep, when you have your sign language interpreter in any organization, a person with hearing impaired will walk in there without asking any question, because there is inclusivity.
We want the full implementation of the Disability Act, and there are several aspects to that. But broadly speaking, accessibility, non-discrimination, and inclusion of persons with disabilities in all aspects of public life. But wrapped in those concepts are a lot of rights that need to be realized for persons with disabilities to be fully protected.
So, sir, what next? What next should we look out for beyond just stakeholders meeting, and organizing workshop? What next? Are you taking it down to the major players? Are you looking at the National Assembly also ensuring that these laws and the courts, these laws are implemented?
So the engagements are going on at different level. The target is to see that this disability law starts influencing policies, and that people begin to take note of its provision before they design a lot of policies. We know that the law has a 5-year moratorium which lapsed in January. This means that all aspects of the law is actionable, and persons with disabilities should begin to also take advantage of that law to test the law in courts and get people who violate their rights called to book, because the law prescribes punishments for different violations, both for individuals and for corporate organizations. But initially we were doing a lot of advocacy, engaging at different levels, both the National Assembly, at different government institutions. We will continue to make that push, But going forward, we'll also begin to test the law in court and see how we can also get different people to come to our awareness of what this law is. The Ministry of Information is mentioned in the law as one having the mandate to create awareness. We want to see a lot of content coming from that ministry that project the right of persons with disabilities and creating that needed awareness.